along, our company is located along Hoima Road and in Nansana municipality, just barely 7 kilometers away from the city center. Sumz Food Industries Limited, we deal in agro-foods processing. We are basically a value addition company. We manufacture snacks, we manufacture butters, we manufacture nuts, which we distribute in supermarkets, schools, and institutions. We've been in business for the last 12 years, and our products are very visible in the supermarkets under the brand name Sumz. The company name is Sumz Food Industries Limited, but the brand name is Sumz, S-U-M-Z. I'm here to share experiences that I have gone through as a self-made entrepreneur over the last 12 years. I am a teacher by profession, a counseling psychologist by training, and an entrepreneur by experience, or even training. I must say there's some kind of trainings that I've gone through. I'm the CEO of Sumz Food Industries, like I said, and the brand must be really a very, very common brand in your day-to-day life. So I'm here to share my startup experiences, obstacles, and lessons. Okay. We started with one product in 2010, and it was in fulfillment of the coursework requirement at the university. As a teacher by profession, I started teaching and I taught for 12 years. But as a teacher, a primary school teacher, I kept on upgrading. From a grade 3 teacher's certificate up to a master's degree. But along the way in my entrepreneurship journey, I realized that as a teacher, my salary was a very small salary, and I had to find a way of supplementing my small salary. But that couldn't be achieved without looking for something to earn me an extra income. So what I chose to do was to look for a business idea. And by then, the business idea that came forth was to start up a salon. I started up a salon at Namasuba. It survived in Namasuba for a year and a half. It didn't work out. I shifted it to Namungona for 9 months. It didn't work out. I shifted the same supermarket salon to Nansana. Survived for a year and 12 months and 2 months. Eventually, I realized that the salon business was not breaking even. So I chose to look for another business idea. And at that time, what I had to do was to invest in a retail shop or a grocery. So when I invested into a retail shop, as a teacher who had to be in a classroom, I couldn't have both legs in the business. So I employed someone to be in the business as I was teaching. So in the evening after school, I would come back and supervise the shop. But it didn't also survive for the next for more than 2 years. Now, having failed with the 2 business ideas, I was like, what do I do to make ends meet? I'm teaching parents, children of rich parents. I'm trying to struggle left and right to see that I get something to supplement my salary. So what I chose to do was to go back for further studies and upgrade. But this time, I chose to divert from education, and I took on a bachelor's degree of guidance and counseling at St. Lawrence University. Now, while at the university, and the reason as to why I went back, I had to divert. I was targeting NGOs because I had made quite a number of friends. Most of the parents whose kids I used to teach had quite a number of options for me. Those who do, whenever I would interact with them, a number of them were like, if you had a degree in such and such a field, maybe it would help you get a better paying job. So I went for that degree, targeting NGOs to get a well-paying job, and then I ran out of the teaching profession. But during my second year of study, I encountered a course unit, and that was Entrepreneurship Education, which was a compulsory course unit. And we were tasked to prepare business plans. So in the course of study, where we were tasked to prepare business plans, that's where I came up with this business idea. So I started with a business idea. Actually, it wasn't exactly this. It was about goat rearing. And I named my project Ngabi Stock Farm, Ngabi from Ngabirano. And that proposal didn't actually work out. Because why it didn't work out? After marking the write-up, the lecturer insisted on supervising the implementation part of the project. And I was like, the budget is big. Will I be able to implement the Ngabi Stock Farm? Ngabi Stock Farm was about to go to rearing. Had exaggerated the project, had put in quite a number of varieties, the breeds, modern new breeds of goats, and generally the project was very expensive for someone who didn't have startup capital. So when the lecturer insisted on implementation, which I couldn't do at that time, I had to look for another business idea. But it coincided with my wedding arrangement. So at that time, as a teacher who was upgrading, I had again another obligation. We had organized a wedding. After our wedding with my wife, Maureen, we went for honeymoon in Mombasa. We found someone with a makeshift kind of arrangement on the streets around Fort Jesus. The way you see these guys on the roadside who fly chapati. So that was exactly the same setup, which I looked at and I liked. That gentleman that we saw in Mombasa was flying raw matoke. So the raw matoke crisps, we had to stop and buy, then it tested, but the test wasn't coming out well. And then a new idea was born at that time. I was like, if at all, I tried to invest in this similar idea, but with a different raw material, I believe it would make some kind of a better product. So we reflected on the same idea, and I had to choose using gonja, which is a semi-ripe. So when I chose gonja, gonja became a very, very good substitute for the matoke. So when we returned, I had to go to Owino market. I purchased gonja worth 5,000 shillings. So this picture here is a representation of the gonja raw material. And this kind of setup here is a stove, a cooking stove, which we had to set up at home where, near where we were renting. And then this in the pan here are the banana crisps. So this is Ngabirano, and this is my wife Maureen. But with this business did not survive here for some good time, because we were renting the house, and we started causing some level of inconvenience to the neighbors. So the landlord asked us to shift the business. So we shifted the business, and they had to identify this house which was in the neighborhood. So we were renting this house, and actually we were paying around 15,000 shillings per month. We removed these rugs and then set up this stove inside here. At that time, the distribution was very tricky. I would move with the crisps, the school canteen, and then the university canteen. But along the way, I realized that there was need to even extend the product into the nearby groceries and the mini supermarkets. So I had to hire boys like him, and would use these boxes for apples, put in the product, and then vend it using vend the products using bicycles. Now, later on, we had to realize that the space we had was small. And upon realizing that the space was very, very small, we had to look out for a bigger space. So we shifted from where we were and identified another space still a few meters away, approximately 50 meters away. And another reason we had to shift from where we had been operating initially, we asked the landlady for space to set up a pit latrine and a sock pit and a compost pit. But the landlady was advised that upon granting us permission to set up a permanent structure, it would be a clear signal that we were potential land grabbers. So we did not survive in that place for the next 2 weeks. Actually, in return, the response was an eviction notice for 2 weeks. So once the moment we were evicted, we had to identify another space, which is this space where this structure is. And this was around 2013, 2012, 2013. But we were so blessed that the person who accepted us in her compound was very hospitable enough. And then we didn't get this wall space to set up this structure at a single go. It became a step by step, because we had the 3 meters by 3 meters, then we got another 3 meters, then we got another 3 meters up to here, then we got another 3 meters until it became a 30-meter structure. Then you can see at this level, we're trying also to position ourselves in terms of branding. We knew the colors we wanted, the green and the pink. There was no electricity. It was very risky to install electricity in such structures. And this was my office here. This was the packaging room, and these were dressing rooms for the employees. And then the production room was this side. You can see the motorcycle, which later we upgraded to from using it to the bicycles. Then in 2014, business had started growing, and we had I had to sell off some of my pieces of land. When I sold off some pieces of land, I got some money, and we negotiated with the landlady here who sold to us this piece of land. Behind, adjacent to this a piece of land, there was a main house, a residential, which the landlady sold to us. So used the same land agreement, took it to Centenary Bank, and Centenary Bank gave us a loan of 75 million shillings, which loan which loan was given on the condition that we process Chapa Mongalo. That is the Uganda, the Uganda land title. So once we got the title, it went straight to the bank, and then it was mortgaged. So when paid the loan for the next 2 years, and after paying, I think was around the 75%, we were able to get a top-up loan, which we used to start setting up such permanent structure. I don't know, I remember this is either lava stage in science, when we are transforming from this to a permanent structure. So even from the other previous cooking stoves, you can see now we are upgraded to this type of energy saving stoves within this structure around 2013, 2014. So buying this was a great milestone, because this would cost like 3 million shillings to install this energy saving stove. Because by this time, around this time, we were using almost 2 Tata trucks of firewood every month. When we installed these one, we started using one, we cut the firewood by 50%. But along the way, I learned that there is need to build what we call resilience. And I often tell students, startups, entrepreneurs, that building resilience requires one to rethink the way they see setbacks. When you look at the other structure which I shared in the beginning, where we're evicted, someone who wouldn't be resilient enough would not move on to identify another place. But even the working environment itself wasn't that good to make sure that a professional teacher works in the classroom with the energy, works in the classroom with a positive mind. But I realized there were quite a number of setbacks. Even when you look at where I started with a salon, a tailor shop, and then going back for further studies to do a better degree that would enable me get a well-paying job in the targeted NGOs. That called upon being resilient and building resilience. It's a process which one cannot change, just rush. There are always setbacks in every business. And when you look at what we have gone through, COVID-19, many businesses have closed. There are quite a number of even business ideas that never live beyond their first or second year. There are quite a number of business ideas that fail to work out, but setbacks are inevitable. No one loves them. However, we need to be resilient. So when you look at this structure, you can see how the roofing was segmented. You keep on adding up to here. Then in the next 3 months, you negotiate for more space up to here. And then from here, I would again find myself negotiating for more space up to here. So it kept on growing and growing. But along the way, I've really learned quite a number of lessons and skills. But at that time, it was very difficult for me to trade with a certain businesses like a ShopRite, because I hadn't registered the business around 2013, 2014. I was not VAT registered, but I realized that I needed to register the business. I needed to register the trademarks. I needed to register the brand name with URSP in order to attain a certain level of seriousness in the business, and also protecting the brand in one way or another. I've also learned that businesses, some business ideas take time. It takes time. You have to be patient. It is not a guarantee that within the next 1 year you can make a breakthrough. It also takes time to find a business idea that can work. At times, an entrepreneur can be on the wrong path. But how do you get to know that you're on the wrong path when you have not tried out quite a number of options? Financial discipline. I've learned that some entrepreneurs eat their own seed. Instead of picking a salary, we pick the capital itself and eat it. So what I did right from the second year of the business was to pay myself a salary. However small it was, but at least I realized I had to pay something myself to make sure that I supplement on my smaller salary and also pay myself something that would enable me to feel motivated. Then I've learned that there is need for benchmarking. There is what we call a copy and a paste, or what we call competition versus complementary acting. Most entrepreneurs, they love to do copy and paste. We often fight with our competitors. And one person who works with my competitors in the business, we talk, we do WhatsApp chats. We have a WhatsApp group with my top 4 competitors, and we share ideas, because I realize that the moment we compete with our competitors, we at times set unfair trade barriers. I'm a victim of a price war within the supermarket. I'm a victim of so many things that my entrepreneurs tried to stage, but not until I realized that I needed to work with them, I needed to mobilize them. So I had to set up an association and made sure that we onboarded those that were a problem to me. I actually tried to use my colleagues to switch talk with them that, we have to enter into a consortium to make sure that at least whatever we do pushes forward the industry. I've also learned that mentorship is a great thing. Some of us didn't have business mentors, not until I realized that I needed to get a business mentor. I needed to have that person in life that I dreamt emulating. I dreamt seeing myself grow big. But how do you change your perspective? How do you change the way you see things? How do you change the way you do things when you don't have this person who can say that, no, you are out of the lane. Hello, this is not right. Please get into this direction. So I realized that business mentorship is a very great thing. And I've had some 2 people who inspire me greatly, and I've really learned a lot. Then carrying out business research, in most cases, we don't just bump into some business ideas or activities without doing that research, because we feel business is booming in someone's industry, and then you feel like you should also just come and invest in the same activity. We have products that we have today, 20 products, but not all of them are performing the same way. They are what we call dog products. And out of the 20, we realize that the cash cows are like 4 or 5. So I've learned that some of the products that I invested in, or the lines that I invested in, would not make a business sense, because I just bumped into adding on the SKUs without doing thorough research. Then being compliant with the regulatory authorities, UNBS, URA, and the urban authorities. You can never trade and aim at a certain level of progress or growth when your products are not certified by UNBS. That is, if you're in a product-based business. I've learned that URA will always look for its share, because as you grow, you get to be visible. You have to contribute to the GDP. You have to pay the taxes. And I'm glad that a company that started from scratch 12 years ago, by the time we were making our 9th year, we had been upgraded into recognized as medium taxpayers, because we were leading as the taxpayers in our municipality. But then we were like, if we have to attain a certain level of growth, there are two things that you can never avoid, because taxation is a must, because URA will always come for you. You have to put your books right. You have to be, the products have to be certified, because the moment you start selling to quite a sizable number of customers, the product may be a threat. So you have to be regulated. So those are some of the practical lessons, but I've again realized that offering a great customer service is very, very important. There's always a saying I tell our employees, that if we don't take care of our customers, someone else will. So customer service is very great. We need to look at what we call retention, because you cannot have continuity of business when all the customers that you are onboarding are exiting. Most of the satisfied customers will do referrals for you and enable you to grow your customer base. Because at times you may not even need to spend on advertisement, but because the quality of the product speaks for itself and the quality of the service speaks for itself, more customers will always come in. Then having passion about what we do. There is one thing that I've always learned, and I've been actually told, that in most cases we do businesses because we want to get money. But we often forget that it's very, very important about what we are doing. We need to be, you have to be that person who is very passionate. You have to have that positive energy. Many of us do not love what we do. And we do whatever we do just to survive. I've seen that. Some people just do because they want to survive. Unfortunately, this kind of machinery approach to business and life is not easy. And it is very, very also easy at the same time to notice that someone is just trying to find their way of surviving. So we need to be positive. We need to love what we do. We need to be passionate. Then there is what we call a product or service costing. Because I realize that at times we may overprice a product because we want to get huge profits. You have to get huge margins. But pricing is very, very important. You need not to be too low, the industry standards, and you need not to be too high, the industry standards. So we need to make sure that we do what we call a benchmarking from the other benchmarking. We also need to do research to make sure that at least the product is really very, very much affordable to our consumers, but shouldn't be affordable at the expense of compromising the quality. I've been to China and I've seen you go with the to a factory and someone is presenting 3 grades of products for you. This one is for $10. This one is for $15. This one is for $20. You look for a difference. They look similar, but when there is a significant difference in them. But then, how do we make sure that we cost perfectly how do we cost perfectly, not to affect the consumers, is very, very important. So we have also done digital marketing because we realized that during the lockdown, there was a lot of viewership of TV, social media, kids were at home, parents were at home. So digital marketing is taking up the advertisement space. So it is one opportunity that we need to tap into to make sure that at least we communicate our products and services. So many of the customers these days finding a lot of space on social media. Then I've also learned that treating relatives and in-laws in the business as staff is very key. Some of the relatives kill our businesses. They feel they are picking the money, they can pick the money, they can take decisions at their pace. They feel they can boss around, they feel it is their time to shine, but it's very, very important to to set standards, to set rules that enable the relatives and also the business owners to create a win-win work environment. Because at the end of the day, we may spread a very, very bad seed to the rest of the staff. I've also learned that starting a business while we're still in the youthful age is one great thing. I started this when I was around 28 years, and I've realized that the energy, the optimism around me was very, very high. I was able to dream big. I was able to think big. I was so creative. I've had a great time to fall and still get up. I was able to team up with my peers, and which is very hard when someone has grown up, because in most cases people want to start businesses, they target NSSF money when they have grown up to level 5 and they want to invest. But this becomes very, very difficult for someone to shine. Now, I've also realized that it's what you call being complacent and innovative. Complacent brands fade, or complacent companies fade. We have seen a very, very good brands on the market come and go. You've seen BlackBerry on the market. You've seen phones like Ericsson come and go. We have always to be compliant to the new innovations and technological developments. So when you look at this picture, this is a reflection. This is the exact pack that we had. I kept these pictures. This was the packaging that we had in 2010. And this is the packaging around 2013. This is the packaging of 2016. This is the packaging of 2019. And this is the packaging of 2021 or 2022. So when the customers keep seeing this level of growth, this level of self-improvement, the level of trust in the product grows, the level of confidence, the level of client referrals keep also growing, because they always see a prospect. They always see someone who is ready to do what we call self-improvement. And now, since then, our story has kept on changing. When you look at this, this is peanut butter. This is the almond nuts. These are fried peas. These are potato crisps. These are coated peanuts, potato crisps, gonja. These are also crisps, but flavored with salt and vinegar. We have what we call cornflakes, maweke, mberenge. These are pumpkin seeds, and this is malt nut butter. It's a combination of cashew nuts, almond nuts, and peanuts to make what we call malt nut butter. So when you look at these products here, they are a true reflection that the company is ready for import substitution, which was very, very difficult way back in 2010, 2012, 2013. But at times, once opportunities knock on our doorways, are we ready? Let's look at what we are doing. Are you ready for that opportunity? When the government talks about import substitution, are we ready for import substitution? Are we offering our customers the best? Are we trying to show that there is a certain level of continuous improvement in whatever we are doing? So when you look at this work, it is something that has taken time. At times, some businesses require a certain level of patience. We need to understand that certain milestones can never be achieved within a year or two. So the moment you get to understand that patience is very, very key in whatever innovations you are engaged in, then you can get where you want to be. So, but at the end of the day, how do you communicate? Having a good product is one thing, but how do you make it known to the consumers? How do you make sure that you maintain standards? How do you make sure that there is a certain level of consistency in terms of quality sourcing of raw material, in terms of quality production, in terms of quality packaging, in terms of customer retention, to make sure that, because even looking at what we have today, it's not a guarantee that we are from Mars, we are 100%. We could be also having some loopholes here and there, but how do we make sure that the customers get what they expect of us day in, day out? There is one writer who wrote that if you want to change the world, start with laying your bed every morning. Yes. And how does this make you change your way of life? It's because it's one humbling activity. So at times, like Monday to Thursday, I'm always the last in bed because my wife wakes up very early in the morning to take the kids to school, and I'm the last. So for me, I take them on Fridays. So I'm always the last in the bed. I make sure that I lay the bed whenever, because I cannot leave the bed when it is not made. I had to lay the, but that one has humbled me enough in one way or another that laying the bed itself makes, it instills a certain level of discipline. You feel so humbled to do certain activities which you would never imagine that they are possible in life. So I've always lived a very humble life. I've always tried to focus my way of doing things onto with that kind of streamlined lifestyle. So we need to be humble in life. Life is not a contest. It's not about who tackles the hardest things. No. I've always even told some of my students that it's not about the good schools that you have attended, but because some of us have gone to those schools which we don't want to mention here, because the third world schools. But at the end of the day, what do you have to put on the table? What do you have to make sure that at the end of the day, you are a man of substance? Today, I'm very proud that I sit in my office and I receive applications and CVs with first-class degrees from that humble kind of working environment or background. It's not about being able to thrive. It's about being able to thrive in those things that in which we are gifted. We are not all going to be manufacturers. We are not all going to be in a service industry. But how do you identify something that you are gifted with and you work along that line to make sure that you thrive within that line where you are gifted? We do not need to despise certain beginnings, certain experiences, because success lies in many of them. Because at that time, when in 2013, one of my relatives was when I stopped teaching in 2014, one of my relatives commented, how can Ngabirano, with a master's degree, drop his well-paying job and then go to fry groundnuts? But because I realized that the groundnuts were paying me more money than the teaching profession, I had to quit. And I was very proud about the groundnuts. Even today, when I'm late for a meeting, I deliver my apologies and I say, oh, I'm very sorry, please forgive me. I delayed because I was roasting my groundnuts, and people will just laugh and couldn't pay them. So I've also now done what we call partnerships, seeking partnerships with the banks is very, very important. Seeking partnerships with the NGOs, seeking partnerships with the within our business, with quite a number of business partners. So you can see today, from that humble beginning, we have this automated crisps line, okay? Because we're able to get it through the bank loan, and then that is a equipment financing. So we got this is the crisps line, the first one, and then these are packaging machines. These are packaging machines, and then this is the current production facility. Now, this wouldn't have been possible if we had not built partnerships with our bankers. Okay, and we have not stopped at that. We have started working on partnerships with the farmers. We are doing what we call a backward integration to make sure that we receive high quality inputs in our for our industrial use. We are working with the farmers under a contractual arrangement. They sign, we sign MOUs with them. They grow potatoes specifically for some food industries. We are going to do that. We have done that for potato crisps. We are doing the same gonja. And actually, we just realized that there is a lot of potential within the industry if at all we got the right inputs. Apparently, we are challenged with the poor quality inputs, lack of consistency in whatever, in some of the inputs from the farmers. So that's why we are taking on that approach to make sure that we work with them. We have employed the agronomists to go in the field to make sure that we source right from the farmers and we source high quality inputs to the factory. So that will enable us to constantly receive high quality raw materials and at the same time maintain our tests, high quality tests of products. Now, apparently we are working on this expansion project because we realize that our space is running out, and this is going to be a 12,000 square meter 12,000 square meter production facility in Nkowe. And when you look at this is the artistic impression of the facility. This is how it's going to be. We hope it will be completed within the next 1 year. But now, what we have done, we needed to. We have realized that.
I think we'll give Dennis a moment. He seems to have gone off for a minute. He will be back shortly. Great.
I think I'm there now.
Yes, you're there now.
I was trying to get back to that page. So we realized that we needed to do what we call corporate social responsibility. So this is what we did during the lockdown. In most cases, once we are in our doing our different businesses or respective businesses, we need to make sure that we do not only provide jobs to the people around us, but we have to go an extra mile to be appreciated within our different communities. So giving back is a good gesture, that you are not in business to make profits and satisfy your personal interests, but going an extra mile to take care of the needs of others is one way you can earn massive blessings. You may not see the blessings visibly coming in, but they come with the time, and we feel we are so blessed because we are one company that shares with our community. We are also trying to engage in other community initiatives like keeping Nansana clean. So this was also during it was also another outreach activity that we engaged in, keeping Nansana clean. We also participating in a community project. This is a big project, and we are saying we want to commit 1% of our gross income to setting up a community hospital. So this is a project which may take 10 years, but we want to get there. So when you look at this box, we are trying to install these cash boxes within the supermarkets where we sell our products. We are partnering with the Rotary Club of Nansana to make sure that we mobilize the funds and work with them, Uganda Land Board, Nansana, municipal, and other stakeholders, as well as government. We want to make sure that this Health Center 3 at Nakure in Nansana is upgraded to this kind of facility within the next 10 years, because we believe that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single footstep. We don't only stop at such initiatives, but we have also tried to engage into sponsoring some of the sports activities. We have a football club as the company. We have also tried to support institutions around us in the co-curricular activities. Education, we can give some of our needed students or schools within the community scholastic materials, and that has helped us to keep our visibility high. I've learned that knowing when to quit in business is very, very, very important. At times, we insist on certain business ideas, even when the business ideas cannot work. But knowing when to quit is very, very key. At times, we get to attach, we become irrationally attached to our efforts that I've invested in a lot of money, I've put in a lot of time. For me, this is what I was meant to do. Even when you are not breaking even, but you insist on staying on the wrong path. So quitting at times is very, very necessary. You have to be able to appreciate that you're on a wrong path and shift the lessons learned to the next endeavor. So, but above all, there are some other quotes that have always helped me to keep moving. As a graduate with a master's degree, I've realized that qualifications don't work. I had to leave my master's degree and then concentrate on roasting my groundnuts. That at times you have to hustle and hunt for those goals. That at times we have to make sure that the friends around us influence us to make positive decisions. That the greatest prison around our lives or people live in is the fear of what others will say. But then, above all, I've realized that there are quite a number of other lessons, which I have summarized into what we call the 5 business capitals. So as we play the video about the Sumz journey, I'm going to take you through the 5 business capitals that have enabled me at least to make sure that I attain a certain level of growth. The first business capital, number 1, that is the spiritual capital. The spiritual capital in my journey, as we play this video, I think we are going to put off the volume. Let me put off the volume. You will just look at what is happening here. And then as I take you through the 5 business capitals. Number 1, the first capital is the financial capital. I talked about proper bookkeeping, which is very, very key in business. And then I am talking about financial discipline, which we all know. You need to have to protect your seed. You need to plow back your seed. You need to make sure that at least the money, the profits that you make are plowed back to make that enterprise grow from one level to another. Partnerships I've talked about. Then loans, I have used the loans. I started with the 75 million shillings. I went to 150 million. I went for 200. I went for 500. I went for a billion. And I've now grown to a big borrower. But now, how do banks get to trust you with that money? It's because of the financial discipline which enables you to pay back the money that you have borrowed on time. And then I've also learned that you need to engage in what we call fundraising activities. Some of the services we can get, they are incubation services from the government institutions, like we have the Makerere Incubation Center, we have the Industrial Research Institute as an incubation center. We may not need to spend money on certain services as a cost-cutting strategy, but we try to make sure that we find a way of maximizing the available opportunities to enable us push our businesses forward. I've also tried to make sure that seeking partnerships works out. That's what I talked about within in what I called the backward integration strategy. I have also what we call the relational capital. The relational capital is about family and friends. I have friends that have enabled me to work on mentorship, those that have mentored me to make sure that I take positive decisions, those that enable me to keep innovating, those that enable me to keep moving forward. Under this relational capital, I have one person who works with my family. I work with my wife. I work with my siblings. I work with my cousins. I tried to make sure that at least we move the business and it is a family business. Then there's what we call, getting whistleblowing in a business. You will never know certain loopholes in a business when you don't have your own. So that's when the family element comes in and it helps you to cover to fix some of the loopholes that may happen in the business without your knowledge. So in my absence, my wife is around. In her absence, I am around. In the absence of both of us, our relatives are around. So it also helps to work to build on what we call a succession plan. Then there is also what we call a trade secrets. Some of the recipes, you never expose them to all the employees. So you must have those people who are very, very key, who are very close to you, that will protect some of the business secrets. There's what we call business espionage. Some of the competitors out there are always ready to grab the good recipes that you have, the good business ideas, the tricks, but how do you protect them? That is by safeguarding the business interests. Then the family also helps entrepreneurs to improve on what you call emotional stability. For a stable family, you have a stable, you as an entrepreneur, you will be stable. You will not have those mood swings when you walk to the workplace. You will not have those issues that will divert you from achieving your dreams. So the family is a very, very good capital in a business. Then it is what we call a spiritual capital. In the spiritual capital here, we need to understand the value of prayer. We need to pray day in, day out. We need to pray for the business ideas that we are always working on. We need to pray for the employees. We need to pray for good decision-making in our businesses. It is always helpful to work on our integrity through prayer, because I strongly believe that the mind with which one thinks, and the will with which one decides, and the emotions with which one feels greatly affect the business in one way or another. So the three have to be packaged into one to enable you understand that whatever decisions you have taken are right, to make you move in the clear direction, to make you decide with great wisdom, to make you decide with the great enthusiasm, and also to become to be hopeful in one way or another. Then there's what you call building strong industrial relations. How do you build strong industrial relations when you have not prayed for wisdom and power? So prayer is very, very key in whatever we are doing. Then is what we call the second last business capital is what we call intellectual intellectual capital. That is about the ideas and the concepts. We must always have new ideas. We must always be innovating. We must always create what we call a competitive advantage. What makes you unique from your competitors? What makes you stand out? What makes you excite your customers? What enables you to excite your customers day in, day out? Consumers' demands keep changing. Customers are fun at times. You may feel that they are excited about your product, but 6 months later, they are too used to exactly what you are doing, and they feel there is nothing new. Then they will switch to something. They would feel like trying out something new. Then the rest I talked about under intellectual capital, like offering great customer service, business research, and then what we have done also under this arrangement, we have tried to seek professional services. We started with employing the directors under part-time arrangement. They would come in and train our staff until we grew capacity to employ professional staff, because in around 2013 to 2014, we had the human resource in that kind of working environment. But the human resource manager was not here full time. She would always come on a part-time arrangement, but we were able to get professional services. And it also helped us to build professionalism in our industry. It also helped us to build what we call corporate governance. So today, you look at very many industries growing, but without structures. When industrial relations are a very, very big challenge, when employees, the Employee Act is not put into a consideration. So we need to make sure that we strike a balance between the needs of the employees and the interests of the company at the same time. Then the physical capital, which is the last one, we need to have that time well utilized and the energy. We need to be very healthy, because a healthy mind, a healthy body keeps us moving. You cannot become a resilient entrepreneur when you have been attacked by diseases. When your body is weak, resilience can never work. You need to be healthy. You need to have that positive energy in you. You need to work around yourself. You need to have time for your family. You need to have time for your business. You need to have time for your friends. You need to have time for yourself as an entrepreneur, to make sure that you keep appreciating nature around you. You keep working on the challenges that keep presenting day in, day out. We have also tried to make sure that time, some of the businesses or the products need time. So that's when time factor comes in here at that point. So it is very, very important to give some business products time, to give the market, even the consumers, time to appreciate your product. So we don't need to rush some of the ideas that we are always doing. But at the same time, I've also realized that we need to be good at doing whatever we have invested in. I will give an example of a salon owner who doesn't know how to style the ladies' hair. You are not a good stylist. You are not a good at salon services yourself, but you have invested in the same activity. And you have this person who is very good at it. And once they walk away, they walk out of your business, they walk away with your customers, because they know that someone who is very good at it has left the place. And therefore, they will follow that person to go and get the services from wherever they will go, they will be. Because you can see at times, women are very, very funny. And at times they get so attached to good things. Don't be surprised if your wife drove from Kampala to Entebbe, because that's where their best hairstylist has set up. So a good service will always be looked for, but we need to make sure that there is a certain level of consistency, there is a certain level of continuity in whatever we do, even when we have experienced a shock in staffing. So generally, to cut the story short, the 5 capitals that I have talked about, the spiritual capital, the financial capital, the intellectual capital, the physical capital, will help you to align your business ideas. They will enable you to align you yourself as the entrepreneur. You need to align yourself. They will enable you to move in the right direction once they are focused onto, and quite a number of challenges will be solved. There is no business without challenges. Apparently, one of our greatest challenges in the business today is the VAT Act, because URA expects us to file a return on every maximum latest 15th of the new month. But as we file the return, I have this MOU that I've signed with the customer X, who says I will pay for the supplies after 45 days. But these are supplies assuming that I've made a supply on the 28th of July. Like today, the supply I'm going to make today under such an arrangement of a 45 days payment plan. By 2nd or 3rd of August, URA wants me to file the return. And the maximum by 15th, URA wants me to pay that VAT, which I have not collected from the customer. So it is a great challenge that we are trying to put on paper, present to our business partners. I call them business partners. URA or Ministry of Finance, they are business partners, because we realize that it is affecting most of the SMEs, most especially at this time when the economy has really become very, very tough. We are unable to collect the money on time. Otherwise, at one time I found myself borrowing, and I diverted part of the money to pay VAT, which was a very, very bad experience on my side. But I couldn't tell my bankers that I am paying this VAT because the customer has delayed to pay. So we have other challenges that the industry in which we are as potential local investors, as coming business, we are lacking incentives, which is cutting across. But I strongly believe as we keep talking about it, most of the decision makers out there are hearing, and they will always come to our rescue. Then scarcity of raw materials. We don't have high quality raw materials. So out of the 20 SKUs which we are producing at Sumz, we have realized that the only strategy to sustainable growth is investing into backward integration. But because some of the SKUs are small in terms of production capacity, we feel there is need to sensitize. There is need to sensitize beyond Sumz and the farmer engagement. There is also need for government to prioritize agriculture, because the huge potential, the requirement for agricultural produce is very huge. Farmers need to invest into smart farming due to the changing weather in our country. The climate is changing. Climate change is causing a lot of challenges. We are no longer getting, even in Simu, we don't have enough supplies for groundnuts. A case in example. So we are finding it very difficult to sustain some of the production lines simply because the supplies are inadequate. I'm talking about high quality supplies of raw materials. But today, even if I ask someone to bring me 10 bags of Simu, high quality Simu, it is a tug of war to get. It's a challenge. You go to northern Uganda and fail to get high quality Simu. So there are quite a number of opportunities which are untapped into, but we need to organize industries. We need to organize stakeholders to make sure that such opportunities are communicated to enable potential beneficiaries tap into them. And I strongly believe life can never be the same. Then last is about the cash and the cashless economy or the credit markets or economy markets where we sell. Realize that today the economy is now largely a credit economy. For that, whatever supplies we make, 92% we are supplying on credit. Only 8% comes in as cash. How do we strike a balance? Even government supplies, you have to supply on credit. So how do we strike a balance to make sure that at least we survive in whatever businesses we are doing amidst these and many other presenting challenges? I thank you so much for listening. I beg to submit.
Wow. Thanks so much, Dennis, for that elaborate presentation. For a moment there, I didn't even notice how much time had flown. I just kept wanted to have you keep going. It's very exciting. Thank you so much. There are so many comments in the chat box. A lot of appreciation which is coming through. I see Madam Sarah Chama says, thank you, Mr. Ngabirano. A lot of thank yous which are coming through. We are going to have a moment to do some questions. I see appreciation from Joshua Kiplagat, many appreciating you sharing honestly, you sharing from your heart, but also you being a very good teacher. You took us through a lovely class. I think Tamaro says this is very helpful to him as he starts his entrepreneurship journey. And I think the teacher in you came out strongly as we listened to your submission. We have learned a number of lessons all the way from the start. You talked about the fact that, yes, you can come from any profession. You came from the teaching profession and have made an excellent entrepreneur. You talked about the challenges on the journey, failing at the saloons, failing at the retail shops, targeting a job in the NGO, and having to take the ridicule of people saying he has left a good job to go and roast groundnuts. Those are powerful messages. You told us a number of messages which we need to pick up, pay yourself as a member of the business, make sure that you work with your family well to make sure that you can get the best value out. We have just about 10 minutes to go. We know it's little time, but I am going to give an opportunity to a couple of people to ask questions on top of the ones we have in the chat box. I'll give an opportunity to 3 or 4 people. I will, if you put up your hand, I've seen I've seen Charles Lagu. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Enterprise Uganda. Thank you very much, Dennis, for that elaborate presentation. And we appreciate. I want to get your insights on marketing. What is your journey like in marketing this product since you started? Who were your targets? How did you position it? And what lessons can we learn in building markets? Because some of us who are in service would like to learn from your experience, because you realize that marketing is a very big driver. I need your key insights in the marketing arena. Thank you very much. Thank you, Enterprise Uganda. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you so much, Charles. I'll go to Mawa. Mawa, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Thomas. I really get a lot of inspiration from this guy. One of the questions which I want to ask here is about risky mitigations. Alongside the 2 business he managed to start and he failed. How did he manage mitigate the risk on the side of renting the houses, at the same time the revenue taxes? We also experienced the same experience. We start businesses, but the business are not going according to what we expect. And at the same time, also, I want to know also, he shifted from education to entrepreneurship. More especially, he was more on agricultural businesses. And I just analyzed that maybe he's not passionate on agriculture, he's more on education. How did he handle that matters? Because from agri to education, education to agri, how did he handle that? Because I also have that interest, but I'm not passionate on it. Yes.
Super. Thanks a lot, Mawa. I'll go to Joseph.
Yes. Good morning, team. Thanks, Enterprise Uganda. Thank you, Mr. Dennis. Actually, Mr. Dennis, you're into manufacturing, and so do I. I'm operating a small-scale food processing company. But if you would help me, please, and take me through the business partnerships, especially with growth, on how to handle it, because I found myself dealing in food processing, having a wide market, but as a youth, we always have challenges when it comes to financing these businesses and financing the big orders that we usually have on us. So if there could be chance with other organizations that could do partnerships with us to take us through such kind of things, don't you think really it would be something good for us youth that are already engaged into entrepreneurship? I'll be glad for that.
Thank you, Joseph. Dennis, you'll allow me to take a couple more, and then I'll let you in. Let me see Maria. Maria, please go.
Good morning to you, and thank you very much. Maria is my name, from RS Auto and Engineering Works Limited. We deal in motor vehicle repairs and maintenance. I wanted to also thank Dennis for his elaborate experience, which has been very great. And I want to ask, Dennis, what did you have a client retention strategy, especially with regards to pricing? Because as entrepreneurs who are growing, my experience in business is that we are finding it difficult to retain our clients because they think that the prices are high or not affordable, even if we are very certain that the service we provide is good, and they have confessed that the service is good, but the pricing is not very friendly for them. So how have you managed to retain your clients, your customers, and what pricing strategies have you put in place to ensure that your customers continue to come through, or even any challenges that you may have that could help us to inform our decisions better? Thank you.
All right, I'll take Simon and Audrey, and then I'll bring Dennis in. Simon, please go ahead. Simon, go ahead. I don't get Simon. Audrey, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Dennis, for sharing your journey so selflessly. It is very, very insightful for me, especially in the manufacturing industry. I do roast, and I roast coffee and supply to supermarkets. However, the challenges that you have mentioned are real, especially in terms of revenue, taxation, of having to file returns, and yet you're giving out products on credit. I'm also very, I am so happy that you carry out CSR, you give back to the community. I am also very happy that you involve God, you're prayerful, you pray for your business, you pray for your employees. The biggest challenge that I have is about tithing as a business. I would like you to, I don't know, do you tithe as a business? what advice would you give to a startup like mine on tithing? Thank you.
All right. And finally, I will get Winnie and then get Dennis in. Winnie?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Enterprise Uganda. Thank you so much, everyone. And Mr. Dennis, for sharing your story. My name is Winnie Nabukera. I'm a nurse sonographer by profession, also a certified personal growth coach and health coach. Mr. Dennis, I do lead an organization called Little Win Foundation and Golden Bedtide Services. We do health educate youths about HIV/AIDS. But since you have been into the journey of entrepreneurship, I want maybe to get clarity from you. How do you get on with an organization yet you don't have funding? How do you manage your teams properly to stay right with the vision, the core values, and also whatever we are following up? Because sometimes I've found it a problem managing people, especially when they don't like somehow see results, because you have a lot of projects coming in, yet you need funding, you need money to do the work and all those things. And then they end up, some of them, getting off track, and then they are not manageable, and you cannot actually get onto the vision when you probably don't have a strong team that is committed. Then number two, I've also started up a mentorship and a coaching program for nurses and midwives. I want to help them be able to find their purpose, their passion, and also turn it into profit. How better do you somehow collect? Because usually people love to see that if you are a mentor or if you are a coach, you must be maybe above 50 years, 40 years, and all those things. How do you approach? Because me right now, I'm 25. How do you stand up and then you're comfortable and then you mentor people into their purpose and passion? Thank you.
All right.
Hello.
Thanks a lot.
Hello. Hello.
Thanks a lot.
Hello.
Oh, Simon, you are finally
Hello.
gotten in. Please, Simon.
Yes, I was unmuted.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dennis, and thank you so much, Enterprise Uganda. My name is Ochen Simon. I am the founder of Chariots Coffees and Barista Academy. I am also the National Barista Champion 2018. Without wasting a lot of time, my company sells coffee, value-added coffee, roasted powder and the beans, and also we do training programs. My question to Mr. Ngabirano is, what is it sustaining the raw products, just in case, not even just in case, from his story, he's growing every day. And as you grow, there will be more demand for supply for raw products, like the Irish potatoes, like I've heard of nuts, granuts. What is his plan to sustain the supply as his business grows of the raw products, so that with time it doesn't run short of? I heard him talk about Sumz being unavailable. So is there a likelihood that with the time is going to stop supplying to his consumers the Sumz because the supply is inadequate? What is his plan about that? Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I think I'm going to request members. I see we are just 2 minutes to our end time, but I'm going to request that you allow us to just go over by 5 or 10 minutes, so that we can allow Dennis to respond to those questions. Dennis, I'll hand back the floor to you. I know there are many questions, but you'll try to consolidate them and respond to them.
Thank you so much, fans of Sumz and the customers, actually, your fans and the consumers of our products. I thank you so much for sparing time to engage in this moment of sharing. I will begin with the very last question that about plans for sustainable supplies. Like earlier, I communicated about our backward integration strategy, which we started on 2 years ago. We started with the cash cow, which is the potato crisps, followed by gonja, and all the other SKUs are going to be onboarded depending on the level of performance. We cannot have all of them onboarded because different regions have different potentiality. So we keep onboarding one by one as we equally grow capacity. Because sensitizing farmers and then showing them that it works, that the return on investment are worthy, engaging in a partnership, it's something that can take some time. So we have been able to start small with the 1, 2. Now we are working on the groundnuts value chain. We have identified the regions like southwestern Uganda, and then Alberta in a region which have the best groundnuts. Different regions, you realize that they may have different, they may have the same raw material, but for different purpose. For example, Arua groundnuts cannot work for the product of roasted groundnuts, but they will work very well for the product of peanut butter. So different regions with a different capacity, we are coming. We cannot achieve this in a year or 2 years, but there is a strategy to make sure that we work on sustainable sourcing of high quality raw materials, and at the same time, if the payback is improved livelihood of our suppliers, and then you will see it work for sustainable growth of our enterprise. Then Winnie about from the little win. I don't know if I am so biased about what I am sharing, but I'm sharing from the background of a product-based industry. I'm not sharing as a coach. I'm sharing personal experiences that I've gone through, the lessons learned, and possibly the mitigation that I've seen that can work, or those that have worked for me. So from the personal touch, or from the personal brand, we need to keep some of these challenges that keep presenting from business to business. They may not be directly addressed, but at least some of the solutions may cut across. Because you are talking about managing teams without funding. Definitely, most of the organizations that were funding NGOs, when it came to COVID-19, some of them suspended the funding, but that was a time when most NGOs closed. Others had to look for alternative investment opportunities to make sure that they maintain their staff. So we need to look at quite a number of options within your reach, within your capacity, to make sure that you diversify. You are not going to remain doing one thing. Maybe for now, it is not a season for it to work out. Maybe it has worked out for you in the past, but we need to keep our heads up. We need to keep innovating. We need to keep looking for new ideas until we get something that works, or until the situation comes back to normal. How do you mentor people who are above? I'm not, I find myself sharing, like you said, for you at 25, but you could have those good experiences that can impact on the lives of even those people who are above you. For me, I'm sharing personal experiences, but I know very many people out there have gone through great learning experiences, but they are unable to share. It's not that they don't know the best practices on how to manage their businesses, but the ability to come out and share with the customers, to share with others who are in business. To me, I believe it is something, it's a gift. To me, it is something that I cannot hide. It is something that I feel that gives me great enthusiasm when I talk about my product, when I talk about the future of the product, because I know when I communicate to you listeners in here, you will be able to know more about the product that I am selling. Some others may not care, but in one way or another, I benefit. So it's not basically all about coaching and influencing, but just about sharing what I have gone through as an individual. Then to Maria about the client retention strategy. which has worked. For us, we have done what we call the market segmentation. You realize that when you go to the products, to the supermarkets or the shops, you will find even the smallest pack of 500 shillings, which is a 12 grams pack. And you'll find what we call a jumbo pack for 500 grams. So someone who has a baby and they are just craving a Crisps, Sumz Crisps, and you don't have the 1,000 shillings, at least you will part with the 500 shillings to make your baby comfortable that they have received the Crisps. So an adult who is not able to eat this, to buy this, to get satisfied with a smaller pack, they will identify where their appetite potential lies, and then they will go for either jumbo pack. So if you have a huge appetite, you go for the jumbo pack. If you have a medium or low appetite, you go for a pack that can really work for you. If you want to do promotions, for example, I may choose a pack that may not be very expensive, and I give it out free to the consumers, or I give out free to the people in the intended market, where I want to ensure that the customers get to know about my product. Or I can even do product tagging. I can have the butter and I tag it with the Crisps. I can have, let's say, soda and we tag it with the Crisps. We bundle it with the Crisps. But then it depends on the segmentation strategy that you have come out with. But this has also been seen in other businesses like a KFC. Today you can have KFC pack of 12,000 shillings delivered at your door. You can have a pack for a family of 100,000. So such strategies will help you to make sure that you provide a service or a product to different consumers. For example, assuming you have, let's say, a dry cleaning service, you may have to iron the clothes and deliver them. But the service, the cost of delivery may be included in that service. You may have to wash only and you don't iron. Someone may say, wash and don't iron. And that option is there, that when you wash and you don't iron, I am charging you this. When I wash and iron, I am doubling the price. So we need to look at different innovation strategies that will keep us afloat in our different businesses, because the business environment is changing, the demands are changing, but we have to keep afloat. There's what we call a customer relations management system, knowing your customer. For us, we have installed that in our industry, sending out messages to our customers and wish them a happy birthday, calling this customer who has been quiet for some time and you want to hear from them. Why is it that you are not purchasing? What has happened? Are you well? Visiting those good customers that really help you out to make a very good sale. Visiting them physically, knowing them, building a personal relationship, a personal touch, having a personal friendship, growing that one-on-one with them helps you to work on retention. And there are some customers who really feel they are so much attached to me that I started with them 12 years ago. But up to now, even when we have managers and directors, they feel they want still to give their orders to me directly, because we have had that bonding, which is something that is very difficult to be separated. So that will help you to improve. Then business partnerships. You know, when we keep banking with our respective banks, they keep monitoring our consistency. They keep monitoring our habits. They keep monitoring our financial management habits. And they are able to trust you with the money. Once you get a loan, how do you pay back? They keep monitoring. So you grow partnerships. You build a relationship with your bank. But you can also seek partnerships with the equity partners. You may have a business and you are owning 100% shares, but it is a smaller business. You may have a business and you are owning, let's say, 80% shares. Why would you own 80% of the shares and remain struggling? But if you engage in equity funders who can bring in money, invest in your business for a given period of time, and then you share the profits, it can also be one option. Then also business partnerships. We have, for us who are in product-based businesses, we have the incubation centers that we have really taken a very good advantage of. We have received the training from Industrial Research Institute on how to improve on our peanut butter. We have made use of the Makerere Business Incubation Center. The services, the facilities out there are free. You just pay, I think, for your bills, electricity bill, and then a water bill, and then you will have the product in.
Sorry, Dennis,
Hello?
I think we lost you there for a minute. Yes, you're back now.
Yeah, so you have to go to the incubation centers and get some of the free services. Even in Guru, there is a facility, and the government is coming up with such similar initiatives to make sure that entrepreneurs are helped out to get what we call capacity building. And then I must say that opportunities for partnerships keep differing depending on the business and the business you are engaged in. A product-based business may not have the same opportunities as a service-based business. So depending on where you are. So I am sharing from a point of product, a business in which we are engaged, and for the opportunities that have come our way. We are also saying we have what we call done partnerships with the organizations like IFDC. IFDC is a research enterprise that has helped us to mobilize the farmers. They mobilize the farmers, and then for us, we assure the farmers of the market for their what? For their produce. So there are quite a number of opportunities, but you need to work with the people who are in different entities, people who have been able to go through similar experiences, do what we call benchmarking, speak to them, and see how best you can align into the opportunities that are available. Then a gentleman who talked about risking the business, that I shifted from education to agriculture. I did shift from education to agriculture. I'm a teacher by profession. I am a counselor psychologist by training, and I am an entrepreneur by experience or by hands-on. So I am not into agriculture, but I am trying to make sure that I work with the farmers to make sure that the value, the chains work. Because for me, I'm just creating markets. Apart from employing agronomists to go in the field and monitor the fields in which we have interests, that is where we end. But we are not doing our own farming. We are not doing our own produce, but it's just a partnership with the farmers. Then insights in marketing. I must say the greatest marketing tool in any product-based or service-based industry is integrity. And I spoke this when I clarified on the spiritual capital. We must be people, entrepreneurs of high integrity. In most cases, people who are in the product business related businesses, they tend to compromise on the quality because the trade conditions have really pressed them to the edge. But instead of compromising on the quality of your product, you rather increase on the price and maintain the quality of the product. Some customers are quality sensitive, but others at the same time are also price sensitive. But we must strike a balance. But we will not say that we are going to compromise the quality of the product at the expense of the customer or at the expense of the industry itself. So you must know where you are going, and you must clearly look into the repercussions of the whatever decisions you have taken. So for us, we have also gone ahead to do digital marketing. As I speak, we have an online shop. The Crisps can find you in your bedroom. The Crisps can find you in your office. You just get to our website, www.sumz.ug, www.sumz.ug, and you log into our online shop and we'll have the product delivered at your door. So as long as you buy products worth 70,000 shillings, delivery is free within Kampala and Wachiso. Then another marketing insight is referrals. I strongly believe that a certified customer or satisfied customer will be a very good referral, will enable you to get more business from their colleagues or from their friends. But a customer who is complaining, they will spread the bad gospel about the business, about the product, and then you won't be able to move an inch. They will not walk back to look for that product. Even when you improve on the product 3-4 years later, it will be very difficult for you to be given an opportunity. But above all, consistency is very, very key. The customers must always have the right taste, the right customer service. Even when you are angry, some customers are very stingy and they will try to pinch, I will try to make sure that they peck at you. But how do you remain emotionally stable? That is the spiritual capital. How do you remain in good mood that you speak with the same accent, you speak with the convincing language, you speak with the calmness to make sure that this customer looks at you as very innocent or as someone who is ready to improve on whatever actions that you have taken, which may have impacted on their interests. So all in all, marketing and consistency, growing in the market is about integrity. Whatever we do must be delivered with the best touch, day in, day out. I thank you so much.
Great. Thanks. Thank you so much, Dennis. Really exciting. A number of questions are still coming through, but I would like to bring this to a close. At this point, Dennis, I'm just going to request you to share with us your final remarks, how we can get in touch with you, how we can, I mean, you gave us your website. It would also be nice to post it in the chat box. I know Dennis is on Twitter. I will ask him to put his Twitter handle. So do follow him right now. Follow Sumz and get a word out there that it's a lovely product done by a fellow Ugandan. I saw someone, Dennis, who said they thought actually Sumz was imported from China. So they thought it was an imported product, but it's an amazing job that you are doing to lead in this space. So Dennis, in a moment or two, please just share with us your final remarks and we can get this conversation out of this specific space and we continue it online.
Thank you so much for the opportunity once again. I want to thank all of you, viewers and listeners. I want to thank you for choosing Sumz Food Industries Limited. It's because of you that we are. Because we don't make these products for our own consumption. We manufacture the products for you. And once you appreciate them and you walk back in the respective supermarkets to purchase them, we really feel very, very, very much honored. It's the only way reward that we can ever have from our customers. But above all, many of the entrepreneurs who are listening in here, those that have been sharing with, we must aim at building what we call resilience. The business environment today is really uneasy. Even as I, for one, speaking before you, we have gone through a lot. We have quite a number of challenges that we are encountering day in, day out, but we find it very, very, very important to learn from our experiences, to make sure that we remain resilient, to make sure that we keep innovating, to make sure that we keep that consistency in the market. And at the end of the day, we don't forget to pray. We don't forget to pray because there is what you call that success attracts haters and well-wishers. You must never forget that. As you rise, you must know that haters are also watching over you. I have this other saying that the higher the monkey climbs in the tree, the clearer it exposes its, that one, testicles. But we are not on the island. We are in business like you, but we try to make sure, like I have said, we learn from our experiences. We must make sure that the customer is put at the forefront. The rest of our interests can be satisfied at a later time. So let's continue working on self-improvement. Let's learn from one another. Let's pray, let's share experiences. Let's have time. Let's for ourselves and for the businesses. Let's be good at whatever we are doing. Let's do whatever we are doing with great enthusiasm, with positive energy. And I believe the fall of the man today will teach them how to rise again and shine tomorrow. I thank you so much. I've shared our social media handles. I've shared the Twitter handle. I've shared the website, and I'm also going to share our Facebook page. It is Sumz Food Industries. Sumz Food Industries Limited. Please like our Facebook pages, like our social media pages, and will feel greatly appreciated. Don't forget, above all, to walk in your nearest supermarket and look for your favorite family snack. We have a wide range. We have a growing range of 20 products for adults. We have for the aging. We have for the children. And we are available at your service. We are aiming at continuous improvement day in, day out. Where we have not done it better, please give us your feedback. We are ready to improve. We are ready to tap into the export opportunities as we are setting up one of the largest facilities in East Africa. I must say import substitution must become a reality, but it will only be possible if we kept with such valuable customers like you. I thank you so much. Asante sana. God bless you.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Thanks a lot, Dennis. It's been a very, very insightful. I mean, it's 10 minutes to 11. We thank you so much for the generosity on your time, for sharing with us. I encourage everyone on the call, go to Twitter, follow Dennis's page, follow Sam's page right now so that you can be able to push their business. Tell a friend. Dennis has been very generous with his time as he shared with us today. And we also need to just show some love to his business so that he keeps pushing as he's lifting us up right now. There was a question from Audrey. Audrey, I'm going to request you to just send a tweet to Sam right now to be able to respond to that question. She was talking about the tithe issue. I think she said that, yes, possibly, Dennis, you could just answer that in 1 minute and then we wrap up.
That is actually, we are one company that gives back to the church. The very latest, last Sunday, Sumz Food Industries Limited, Aminated Mass at Lubaga Cathedral. Were giving back to the elderly and the aging. So it was a day when we were celebrating the old parents, the judges. So when you can just log in to Lubaga Facebook page, and you will see the amazing work we did. We don't only work with the Christians. We are working with all religions. We have been to Harvest House, Worship House several times to deliver such talks. I've been to mosques. I've been to Anglican churches. For us, whenever we are invited, we are always available because we are one company that is manufacturing for all categories of consumers. So the tithe issue is speaking for itself, for the work we are doing in the communities and in the churches.
Super. Wow. Totally enjoyed the session, Dennis. Thanks so much for your generosity. We have had a lovely time. Please just send a shout out to Dennis in the chat box. Dennis, some people are unable to join. Luckily, we have a recording. It will be available on YouTube to hear what Dennis has to offer. Dennis, thank you for being a beacon for the business world in this country, that the stories we hear of people doing it, and they're doing it right here, right where you started. When you say start small, I think this is the true definition of what that word means. And as Enterprise Uganda, it's always an honor when we engage with entrepreneurs like yourself who are leading and trying to make a difference in this country. So thank you so much. All of those who have joined us, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for staying up to this time. Next Thursday, we will be back at exactly 9 o'clock. You'll receive an invite on your emails. Tell a friend, do follow Dennis's page. And remember, the Entrepreneurship World Cup is up. We invite you to register. We invite you to take part. That the link is going to be shared one more time. The meeting will keep open for 2-3 minutes. Just after that, the World Cup, Entrepreneurship World Cup link has been shared. Please click it and get in there and register. Have a lovely week and all the best with your businesses as you keep pushing this week. All the best and stay blessed.